And as Newtown grieves following Friday's tragedy, President Barack Obama touched down in Connecticut tonight. He made his way to Newtown for an emotional vigil and a speech to the town and the nation.
Fox Connecticut's Beau Berman begins our live team coverage from Newtown tonight. He has more on the vigil and the president's remarks. Beau.
Yeah, Brent, Allison, a very emotional evening here in Newtown with a private visit from the Commander-in-Chief, President Barack Obama. And I'll tell you, the first thing he did upon arriving here in Newtown was go to the high school auditorium. And he went before that, though, to some private rooms and met with the families of victims for over 2 hours. In fact, he spent so much time with them, he actually diverted from his schedule a bit, spending extra time talking with them about their grief, about those that were lost, their family members that are now gone. It's so much time, actually, that it delayed the vigil, which was supposed to start at 7. That eventually started at 7:45. But to take you through the timeline of events, earlier today, President Obama landed, touchdown at Bradley International Airport just before 4 o'clock, exiting Air Force One, looking very serious, a somber look on his face, getting in an SUV and making his way down here to Newtown. Now, the president arrived at Newtown High School. The vigil began about 7:45, as I mentioned. Prayers were said from various leaders of different faiths, prayers for the children, the responders, and everyone affected by this, including the adults that were killed. Governor Malloy then took the stage and gave a deeply emotional address, thanking the president for his attendance and reflecting on the magnitude of this tragedy.
We are blessed today to have with us the President of the United States. Said that the most difficult day of his presidency was Friday, when he heard the news of that which had befallen this community.
Then President Obama spoke to the nation for the second time since the shooting, this time, though, in person, in Newtown, looking face-to-face at those who were directly affected by Friday morning's shooting.
We gather here in memory of 20 beautiful children and 6 remarkable adults. They lost their lives in a school that could have been any school.
Now, President Obama said he's reflected on this incident for the past few days and determined that the nation is not meeting its obligation to keep our kids safe in their schools. He said that mass shootings are becoming all too routine, this being the 4th major shooting during his tenure in office. Obama then read each of the children's names who were lost, read their first names very slowly, taking time to think about each one of those names, and then he closed that by saying that God had called on all of them.
Whatever measure of comfort we can provide, we will provide. Whatever portion of sadness that we can share with you to ease this heavy load, we will gladly bear it. Newtown, you are not alone.
Now, the president also spoke directly parent to parent, you might say, to those in the audience who have lost their children, or to those who still have children who live in Newtown here or Connecticut or the rest of the nation, talking about how fragile life can be with your children and how much parents care about their kids, and you don't want to let them out of your sight. And even with the first step they take, they're taking a risk at that point. But a very emotional speech from the president tonight. Now, Obama did leave Connecticut this evening and head back to the White House. He vows that within the next few weeks here he's going to speak with leaders of law enforcement, with mental health authorities and others across the country to try to come up with a way to figure out how to protect our children and really everyone, adults in our school systems and throughout the country, from horrible mass shootings like this in the future. He didn't directly speak about a law change, but he sort of alluded to something like that, the possibility that something like that could happen. And while the president does leave Connecticut, leave Newtown this evening, perhaps he's left behind a sense of hope, a sense of consolation, and perhaps even a sense of pride for Newtown and for Connecticut, and hopefully for the nation. For now, reporting live in Newtown, Beau Berman, Fox, Connecticut.
Beau, thank you. Police released new information about the shooting.